Okay, so the most confusing thing about Ableton when you first pull it open is the two views. Okay, so let's talk about those right away. If you've ever used any other audio software before, you're used to looking at things like this, like what I have on the screen here, where we have a timeline going from left to right, and when I hit play,
bright days will come again.
We see kind of a playhead and things are moving across the screen, right? We can kind of make sense of this. It's analogous to like a musical score. There's audio files here, I can move them around. There's MIDI files here, I can move them around. If that doesn't make sense, don't worry. We'll cover that in just a minute. But basically, what we're looking at is each kind of horizontal line here has content, and the software reads it from left to right. Okay? So nothing too strange. Let me zoom in just to show you that again. So here's our playhead.
We sow that we may reap. We will know the fruit of our labor.
Okay, so things are scrolling across. Now, Ableton Live has this whole other view, and one important thing to keep in mind is that if you're perfectly happy with this, you don't ever have to go over to this other view. You can take full advantage of everything in the program just from here. However, one of the really powerful things about Live is the other view. So to get to it, I'm going to press the Tab key. So I press Tab, and now I'm taken over to this. Okay, what are we seeing here in all of these little boxes? If you've used other audio software before, you might think, well, those look like plugin slots. They're not. They're not for plugins. What we have here is almost a completely different session. Okay? What we're going to put in these little boxes here is audio or MIDI content. Okay, so I could take, let me just take a sample here. Okay, here's just a little thing. Okay, so I'm going to put it right there. Okay, so now you'll see that these little dark gray squares were actually stop buttons. And now that I have something in there, they become a play button. Okay, so I can play that. Okay, and it's going to play everything else that's going on the other side. Okay? Now, where is all that content from the other side? We don't see it here because, like I said, this is almost a different session. When I press play here, they're actually all going to play. But if I go down here and press this, it means stop everything. Now I'm just going to get this audio file. Okay? So the content is not shared between the two sides, but the mixer is. Okay? If I go down here and I move this mixer for the second channel, if I move it all the way down here, and then I press the Tab key, go back over, you'll see up here my volume is very low. This is the volume for the second track. You'll also see everything's kind of grayed out here. The reason it's grayed out is because that's Ableton telling me, hey, you're listening to the other side. Okay? So two separate content areas that share a mixer. That's the way you think about it. Now let's put some words on this. This we call arrangement view. Okay, so this is arrangement view. If I want to take back over and I want to say, I want to listen to arrangement view, I'm going to press this little orange button up here, and now arrangement view is in charge. Okay, now I'm hearing arrangement view again.
We sow that we...
If I press Tab, go over to this side, this is called session view. Okay, so if I stop everything, and there's that little orange light again, right? That means, we're going to talk more about that little button later, but basically what that means is session view is in charge. Okay, I press this, and I can hear it. I've turned the volume all the way down. There it is. Okay, so session view and arrangement view. Two different sides of the same program, different content areas, they share a mixer. Now there are times when we would want to share content between the two sides, and there are easy ways to do that. And we'll talk more about that later. But for now, I just want you to get into your head that there are two separate content areas that share a mixer. Cool? And the way you get between the two of them is with the tab key. Now, one last thing I'll say about this is that the way that I use Live, and I think probably safe to say the way that most people use Live, is that for a given project, you're probably going to use either session view or arrangement view. It's pretty rare to use both at the same time. They have different purposes. Some people prefer to write music in arrangement view, like me. Other people work almost exclusively in session view to write everything. And when you get down to performing and you want to do like kind of a DJ set, you're going to live here in session view. So they have different purposes, but for the most part, when you're working, you're going to be working in one or the other and not very often using both at the same time.